Members of City Council, please attend the call meeting of the City Council to be held in the 6th floor conference room, 801 Crawford Street, 5 p.m. Tuesday, July 14, 2015, for the purpose of a public work session. In addition, you may consider a motion to go into closed meeting by order of the mayor. Mr. Cherry? Here. Dr. Edmonds? Mr. Meeks? Mr. Moody?
Here.
Ms. Simmons?
Here.
Dr. Whitaker?
Present.
Mayor Wright?
Here. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Before we get started, first of all, Madam Clerk, if you would do the introductions, please.
Yes, sir, I would love to. If you could come forward, please. And where's the rest of our team? Are they out there somewhere? Okay.
You know, they're
They
shy.
might be hiding. Members of City Council and management. Right on cue. I'd like to introduce Monica Johnson. Monica is our new Deputy City Clerk.
All right.
Monica comes to us by way of Germany. She is a U.S. citizen, of course, and actually Monica has retired from the Virginia Beach Criminal Court Division, where she was the division manager. So she brings 21 years of municipal experience, so to speak, and we are very delighted to have Monica with us, as you can well see.
Well, thank you, and welcome aboard, Monica. I'm sure you want to say something, right?
Well, I just want to say thank you, and I am looking forward to make this another career. I am so excited to be here, and thank you. Looking forward to working with you all.
We're excited to have you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
As y'all know, the clerk doesn't like doing this. This was by request of the mayor, and so she marshaled the whole team in to make sure she had reinforcement.
Yes.
All right, with that, Mr. Manager, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of council. The first item on your agenda, we're going to defer to the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll defer that first item to the next meeting.
The next item is something you asked me to report back to you at your last meeting regarding the cost to remove the Confederate monument that's at the corner of Court and High Street. We had just used a masonry restoration company last year to do monument restoration. So we went back to them and asked them to come and give us an estimate. And they estimated the cost to disassemble and relocate that monument and to crate the 4 zinc statues as at $105,000. So that's the cost to remove it, store it in a public works yard until it could be reassembled wherever else. So that's just disassembly and relocation. I asked Yusef Khalil, our public works director, what it would cost to restore the street, and he estimated about $7,000.
About $7,000.
Yes, sir. So those are the two costs, as best as we can come up with, to remove and relocate it.
Okay. And as far as the legality and the monument, the ownership, and if we decided to, I guess we'd defer to our attorney if we decide to move forward, and if we can move forward, what can you report out on that?
My office researched the history of the monument because we felt like we needed to start with who owns this monument, who owns the property underneath this monument. In 1876, City Council granted permission to the Portsmouth and Norfolk County Monumental Association to place the monument where it currently stands. In 1893, the monument was finally completed. And as far as the underlying land is concerned, my research was able to show that the land under the statue was never conveyed by the city and therefore remains part of the Court Street right-of-way and is controlled by the city.
Okay.
The monument itself, that turned out to be a little more difficult to research in terms of ownership. The monument was paid for by the Portsmouth Norfolk Monumental Association and the Ladies Memorial Aid Association. And then in 1929, Stonewall Camp United Confederate Veterans of Portsmouth recorded a deed conveying any interest it may have had to the monument to 5 trustees. And the trustees were directed to form a commission. But it's unclear whether or not Mr. Camp had any actual interest to convey and whether or not the trustees ever formed a commission. So it is possible that some private organization may have an ownership interest in the monument, but that issue is uncertain at this time, and that's not something that I was able to determine based on my research.
Okay.
Further, there is a state law on the books, 15.2-1812, which authorizes Virginia localities to permit the erection of war memorials, and it also provides significant penalties for violating that statute. There is a civil cause of action for violations, including possible punitive damages and attorney's fees. And further, Section 18.2-137 of the Virginia Code provides that it can be a Class 6 felony to intentionally damage or remove a war memorial. So at this point, the monument should not be moved unless the city is certain that it's not in violation of Section 15.2-1812.
Amen.
So at this point, we're looking at about 105 for removal and storage of it, about another 7,000 to make the street whole. We're looking at, we do not know who the owners of the current monument is, and if there was an agreement of council to move forward, we would have to contend with the state law here, which means what, maybe possibly going through our legislative body to see if we can't petition the legislature to see just what next steps we could pursue.
Absolutely. We could ask the city's legislative delegation to present a bill to the General Assembly authorizing removal. And in addition, there are other litigation tactics that could be used that we could discuss in another setting. But there are other litigation tactics that could be used to go forward and gain that certainty to figure out whether or not the city can go ahead and remove the statue.
Okay. Are there any questions? Yeah, Dr.
I
Wood.
just want to make sure it's clear. So the actual land is owned by the city.
Yes.
Right.
My research shows that.
The deed issue is with the monument itself.
Yes, I've been unable to determine who actually owns the statue, but the land underneath the statue, that is the city's property.
Okay, because I know there had been some conversation that that land was privately owned.
Actually, I was able to find in 1974, the then city attorney tasked an attorney in the office with researching that, and I've come up with nothing to discount the research done in 1974 that land has never been conveyed and it is part of the Court Street right-of-way.
Okay. Well, that's good. At least we know that the land is owned by the city, and then, like I said, we can pursue other legal issues in another setting. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item.
Yes, sir. At the last work session, we talked about developing a program for events at Portside on a regular basis, and so I'm going to introduce Dolores Pace, our Director of Marketing, Events and Tourism, to brief you on the cost that we developed and that we're planning on doing within the existing budget.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council.
Did you say that then doing within
Within the existing
the
budget.
existing budget? Okay, we didn't want that
And
to
it
go
was
unnoticed.
probably, would be the
I did
manager's
caught that,
budget,
okay.
not the NE2 budget.
All right, with that, Mr. Pace, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Bring you some good news relative to the concert series that you asked us to look at to basically reestablish Portside. We figured that doing the midweek concert series will conflict with other regions or other municipalities that have a Wednesday concert. We figured that Thursday was a great day to have a concert because it leads us into the weekend and we wouldn't have to rearrange anything that we have that will be happening for the weekend, so it would create some continuity towards events. We came up with the idea, Sunset Thursdays at Portside. We think it conveys, one, a sense of place. It also gives people information relative to what time it is and where it is. And we came up with a cost factor. We passed that around to you. Music and performers, about $16,600. What we did with that was looked at, as you said, booking several artists several different times and getting a cheaper price to try to dwindle down their prices for multiple performances. Audio and sound, of course, the person that we would use to do that has done some events for the city as well. He also did the event for the Stars and Stripes Forever concert that we did for July 4th and did a great job with sound, so he gave us a discounted rate for that as well. And of course, Porta Johns, we need those for every event. And general services, in terms of support, there's a fee there. So totally we came up with about $34,330. here again, this is for 14 concerts. It will go from July 30th to September 24th. And of course, we added in the 4 concerts for June of 2016 to make sure that we have a full fiscal year to include those concerts. The cost does not include marketing dollars. Of course, we'll have to go within our budget and find some money to do that. But it also includes a multifaceted promotional campaign to include print, would include Veer, Currents, Pulse, tent cards and posters, radio, social media, digital message boards, being able to use the 264 digital board, PCTV, email blasts, and also internet marketing using our events website. We have to do this because we have to create some awareness about the festival starting. Doesn't mean that there will have to be a lot of residual costs after that. Once it happens every Thursday, as you all stated last time, people will know that it's going to happen. But this is what we came up with. And we think it will be a great series, and we're looking forward to moving forward if you say okay.
Okay, let me ask, what do you envision, when first we're talking about the water stage?
Yes, sir.
Correct. What do you envision as far as food trucks and those types of things, and maybe being able to go after some type of corporate sponsorship as we get this thing going? Because again, this will take a life of its own once we get it going, and again, it's going to take some upfront thrusting to get it going. But I think once we get it going, it will develop into what we once had as Portside. But what do you envision as far as the food truck piece and all that? Had you got that far?
Yeah, what we had planned for this one is to look at some of the vendors that we use for other things and try to include those vendors, charge them per event, give them discount for trying to be there for every event so that it would be beneficial to them. The problem that we have with that is because it's a Thursday concert series and the concerts only go from 6:30 to 8 p.m., some vendors don't like to set up for that short amount of time, but we would say that, you've got about 14 events that you can be here and vend and make money for your particular business. They would pay us a fee to vend there, and it'll be a reduced rate, of course, because they get multiple times. So there is an opportunity to generate some revenue from the vendors that would be there. The only other part about sponsorship and all of that, maybe if we had an entity that was not a city-owned entity that could do some sponsorships and make sure that those sponsorships were there, we could focus on doing some sponsorship to help with covering the cost of this series. But doing it right now, we don't have any ways by which to go out and seek sponsorship for that. We do it this time, start it off, kick it off, create some continuity, and hopefully look forward to that for the next season of the next wave of the concert series.
I just envision as we evolve on this, I can see banks and different companies that may want to have their Thursday night out and have some sponsorship. That's another way to get some of their employees and folks out and kind of mesh with this whole Portsmouth family idea. I mean, that may be next year once we get it up and going and prove that we can have a crowd there and it is sustainable.
Right. The good lesson, I guess, that we learned from previous, for before, when Linda Lamb ran Ports events, she had a large contingency of volunteers that provided services there, and because she was a quasi-city agency to a certain extent, she could go out and solicit sponsorship to help with covering the costs for producing the series. So, starting it up now, doing like we've done with a lot of other things, the city starts it, and hopefully at some point it can be something that we look towards another vendor for producing the series, and also going after sponsorship to make certain that it's not anything that we have all these residual costs after we start it.
Could you talk just a little bit about advertising and marketing? And we talked earlier because we were talking about our upcoming back to school rally in August and all, and we were talking about marketing. How do we reach our folks? Could you talk a little bit about the things you do and your department do? Because everybody is not on the internet, everybody's not reading billboards, and you got to have a broad approach. And I know that's expensive, but could you tell us what you do to be able to get the word out?
Sure. Looking at the marketing budget itself, I mean, of course, we get about maybe $1.5 million a year. That includes salaries and benefits. But when you break that out and looking at what we spend for marketing, it's probably a little more than $900,000. Okay, so when you look at what we are marketing in terms of our agency, the agency gets 2/3 of that for overall marketing, but all of that's not their fair share of the marketing. They pay for the media plans and for placing the media and all of that, and their 12% commission from that is probably about maybe $150,000. Aside from that, 1/3 of that 900 and some odd dollars is what we have in the marketing budget itself for doing some of the things that we do internally. But in terms of the approach that we always use a multifaceted approach for promoting and producing what we do, because everybody does not receive information the same way. We, of course, use electronic media, which includes radio and television, internet interactive media, which includes internet, social media, of course, which is free to us to a certain extent for having the site. And we have well over 15,000 people on our social media page and Twitter accounts, which they're combined together. We also use print advertising, whether it's brochures, posters, or other print collateral, in publications such as the VIA publication, the Pulse publication, which is a Virginia Pilot product, the Currents, which is a Virginia Pilot product, and also we use internet marketing, email blasts. When you see email blasts coming to you, that's not the only thing that we do. That's an additional thing that we can do to help maximize what we're currently doing that we're paying for in terms of cost. A lot of times when we place an ad, for instance, we run an ad in the Currents, which is the back page outside cover ad. That ad will run in the Currents, but then we take the PDF or the JPEG file from that and send it as an email blast to hopefully get the information to those people who are part of our community connections, who has requested to be a part of that to receive information about what's happening in Portsmouth. So we always try to use a multifaceted campaign within the confines of what we have to do what we do. Granted, the marketing department, I'll say that again for you, we have not, in over 10 years, we've not received an increase in our budget. Now, granted, we had some new positions that were added to marketing, entertainment, and tourism when John made that, when former city manager made the change and created the department, but we've not had an increase in marketing dollars. So what we do is try to maximize what we do in terms of what we have to market, but also using our inventory that we already have, such as some of the things that we can use and we can control internally.
Well, how well do we utilize or work with our community organizations, civic leagues, churches, things like that to get the word out? Because, I mean, those types of things are the word of mouth type things that could also help. The organizations, the Greek organizations, and any organization?
Well, what we are currently doing right now, when Ms. Randall was on council, of course, she asked that we start doing some direct mail pieces to some of the churches and organizations in Portsmouth. Since that time, we've started doing monthly mailings to churches so that they can help to spread the information within their congregation. Mm-hmm. It's about 300 packets that we mail out, and we do that on a regular basis. It includes everything that we're doing for that particular month to give them an overall awareness of what's happening in the city. We also included in our email blast are our Civic League presidents.
Okay.
Hopefully they share that information with their civic leagues. Mm-hmm. It includes military, it includes schools, it includes anybody who's opted in on that particular list. It's about 2,500 people that are on that list, to include city employees, because at one point within the city we had a concern that city employees didn't know what was going on, and they come here and work and leave. Well, now they can't say they don't know what's going on because we send that information to them. And so what we try to do is maximize our dollars. Here again, everything that we can do to try to extend the overall campaign and the overall dollars that we have, we do that. And so here again, when you see stuff coming through internet or through your email accounts, that's not the only opportunity that we've used to promote something. There are other ancillary things that go along with the promotional campaign.
Okay, thank you. I just think having a set date each week and getting that ingrained in our citizens and making sure we offer the type of entertainment that all citizens don't mind coming and learning and diversifying, and I think it could be extremely beneficial. We talked a little as council members about just what would it take to get back to those days where we were, and if we ever got back there, we won't lose it again.
And just to inform you, another strategy that we're doing also, because of the fact of the barrier of the tunnels, we are focusing on targeting some of our advertising at Western Hampton Roads. Mm-hmm. The Smithfields, the Suffolks, the northern Suffolks, those people do not have to pay a toll to come to Portsmouth, so they may be more likely to come than some other folk. But because of the fact, and just so we had the conversation this morning in our OTBA meeting, you know, we don't have the leisure of just being able to market to those people. We still have to do a regional marketing strategy. And so while we may focus on that, we still focus on the Virginia beaches of the world, because people come here for tourism, and when they get sunburned and tired of sand in their shoes and all that kind of stuff in Virginia Beach, we want them to know about Portsmouth and provide them an opportunity to come here. So we do a regional plan for overall marketing, and we try to make sure that it is as aggressive as our dollars will allow us, and use everything within our control to help extend the campaigns.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. Vice Mayor?
I would just suggest as a part of that, which I don't think costs a thing, is to include the downtown Norfolk hotels. Those guests who are staying there, I don't think there's any activity on the Norfolk waterfront on Thursday nights right now. And,
Right.
you know, I watch our hotel guests just pour out onto High Street, and they come over on the ferries.
Right, and that's a good idea, because I just had a conversation with Noel today from the DNC, and because of the fact that we have a sponsorship with them for the Grand Illumination Parade, they have always been willing to share our information with people that come in Norfolk, and we've done that through our visitor's guide, our attraction guide, and everything else. So I had a conversation today about, once we do this, can we share some print collateral with her for that? She said yes, and we'll make sure that that happens. And we also had a
Posters on the
conversation
ferries for those commuters every day.
Yes. We also had a conversation at the OTBA meeting this morning, and I had a conversation with Mary Fernandez, I think her name is, with the Midtown Portsmouth Association about providing some information to that particular area. And I haven't had a conversation with Nelson yet with Crab, but we make sure we keep in contact with all of our business associations here in Portsmouth to help spread that information.
Okay, sounds great. Anybody else? So we're going to hit the ground running
July 30th.
July 30th? Okay.
If you say yes, we will.
Okay, you got a yes here?
Yes.
You got a yes here? Okay. Unanimous yes. All right, great job. Go for it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right.
This could make you famous. or it could kill you.
Well.
All right. Mr. Manager, is that it?
Yes, sir.
For those all right, we got a couple of items for closed session. Will somebody take us into close?
Move to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711 for the consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, Section 2.2-3711A7. Discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of a public body, Section 2.2-3711A3. Discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. Section 2.2-3711A5, and discussion and consideration of prospective candidates for appointment to boards and commissions, and discussion and consideration performance of specific appointees or employees of any public body. Section 2.2-3711A.1.
Okay. Second. Okay.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Edmonds?
Yes.
Mr. Meeks is absent. Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes.
We are enclosed. Thank you.
Thank you.